Good afternoon. We're going to give folks just a moment to come in from the waiting room and connect to audio. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the entertainment division. Good afternoon. This is an administrative hearing before the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing. Today is Thursday, May 25th, 2023. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. We are joined today by the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing, Kathleen Joyce, and Director of Operations, Rebecca Fu. I will read this afternoon's agenda in the order that the items appear. I will ask who is present on behalf of the licensee. I will ask who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, after which I will swear in all parties. The police report will be read into the record, followed by a statement by the licensee, questions from the Executive Director, and testimony from any individual with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. We'll call the first item on this afternoon's agenda. The licensee is Bespoke Hospitality, LLC, doing business as Cambria Hotel, located at 6 West Broadway in South Boston. Date of the incident was May 7th, 2023. Premise conducting entertainment outside, music and TVs on the roof deck. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
That would be me, Rick Gallego.
Could you please put your camera on, Rick?
Yeah, I thought it was.
There we go.
Oh,
we can see you now.
All right, good. All right, there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Gallego. Yep. And what just for the sake of the entertainment division, can you please state your name and what is your position relative to 6 West?
Sure, Rick Gallego. I am the general manager of operations for the company.
For the hotel?
No, we're not associated with the hotel. We're a third-party restaurant. So I am the general manager of operations for our restaurant group.
Who's here for the hotel?
Nobody is here for the hotel. We operate independently, so I'm not sure that they got invited anyway.
Who is Brett Fodeman?
He is one of our owners. He's an absentee owner. He lives out west. We haven't really.
Who's Bespoke Hospitality, LLC?
That is our parent company that owns our restaurants and our restaurant group.
They're not related to the hotel?
No.
It says DBA Cambria Hotel.
So this is, I mean, I'm kind of glad we're talking about this. This is always something that's been a little strange to us. I mean, even bills and things like that get sent to Cambria for us. Things get sent to Cambria for 6 West. I don't necessarily understand how that all worked out. That was previous to me. This is one of the owners that kind of like a year and a half ago was like, hey, I'm moving out west.
All right, let's get back to the violation at hand, and then we can figure this out. This is a very serious thing that we don't have this straightened out.
Sure.
Thank you, and we will get to that in a moment. So thank you, Mr. Gallego, for identifying yourself. Who is on the first incident we'll be talking about this afternoon? Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am Detective Hernandez.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident of May 7th who wish to testify this afternoon?
Yes.
Which day is that?
When you say firsthand knowledge, I'm sorry, this is Marcy Jackson. I'm a neighbor. When you say firsthand knowledge, are you saying like in the premises or outside the premises?
If you have knowledge, if you have testimony of May 7th, of the events on May 7th that you would like to provide to the entertainment division, then you would be.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you please just identify yourself? You said Marcy Jackson?
Yes, Marcy Jackson, and I'm a neighbor. I live at 9 West Broadway.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the incidents of May 7th who would like to testify this afternoon?
I'm not sure. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, because I can't find the camera. This is Jean French and David Green. We are also neighbors in the Cambria.
9 West Broadway.
Thank you, Ms. French, and is it possible to turn your camera on as well so that we can swear you in? And any testimony you provide today will need to be provided on the road.
I don't quite know how to do that. I'm sorry. I don't do a lot of Zooms.
It's okay,
This is-
I've just asked you to start video. You may have seen something pop up on your screen. There we go, we can see you now.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
Okay,
I
there we
can
go.
see it now.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Perfect, thank you very much. Can all of those who are planning on providing testimony, please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do,
Yes.
I do.
Thank you very much, Detective Hernandez. If you could please proceed with reading the police report into the record for May 7th.
Good afternoon. I'll be reading from a police report, which I wrote on Sunday, May 7th, 2023. Sergeant Detective Willem Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez signed to the BPD licensed premise unit, conducted a licensed premise inspection of the Cambria Hotel roof deck bar located at 6 West Broadway in Boston. Detectives were there regarding a prior noise complaint that had been made to the city's 311 complaint line. The complaint stated that on Sundays, the establishment was providing very loud DJ music. The complaintant also provided videos of the activities. Detectives spoke with the person in charge, Mr. William O'Brien, who stated that they had hosted an event on the Sunday. The second manager did come over and confirm that the music might have been a little loud because the speakers were facing outwards. While standing near the bar, detectives also noticed speakers mounted on the ceiling and an operating television. As a result of what detective observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 040356 for premise conducting outside entertainment, music, and television in violation of condition of entertainment license of having no outside entertainment. Mr. O'Brien signed for an accepted notice. That is all for the report.
Thank you, Detective. Mr. Gallego, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, and I spoke to Detective, he came by another time and we had spoke. As far as the music being too loud, we've gotten that under control. We've gotten a couple one-day permits since and made ourselves very aware of what our license entails, etc. The TV and radio, we didn't quite realize that wasn't part of it. Our entertainment license does say a television, but it's in reference to a different floor of our restaurant. So there was definitely some confusion on our part. We're being very diligent about the noise volume and making sure that it's not too loud for anybody when we are approved for these one-day permits. We're making sure the speakers are pointed where they need to be, in all of that, etc. We just this had never come up because it hadn't been an issue before. So there were some things we just weren't aware of, and we do apologize, but we're working to rectify.
What weren't you aware of? Had you ever read your license?
Yes, we didn't realize that the noise was affecting people. And I mean, if we're being honest, I didn't realize that we couldn't have a DJ.
Okay, that's what I'm
but-
wondering. It says
Yeah,
audio
yeah.
device, widescreen TV 3 and a projector. Doesn't
Correct.
say DJ.
Correct.
Had you ever read it?
I had, yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying I didn't personally realize that it was something that we needed in general. So I apologize for that, but
And how long have you worked here?
a year at the end of July. And I mean, half of that time is the winter where we wouldn't have entertainment on the roof anyway, so it hadn't particularly come up yet.
Yeah, this has taken up a lot of time on our part. A lot of calls have gone unanswered. A lot of complaints to both the licensing board and to this office. So we want to get this cleared up.
Sure, I mean, as we do as well.
This absentee person, Brett Fodiman, needs to get in touch with us ASAP. I understand you're having an event this weekend that you haven't even applied for a license for yet, so that's not going to happen.
Nothing this weekend.
There's something on social media about an event this weekend.
We have one the 6th. And anything else, if this was something that you had previously seen, we had canceled everything.
Okay,
So if somebody's still posting it, that's not accurate. The 6th, we did apply for a one-day permit, but there's nothing going on this weekend.
okay, so I have, go ahead, Rebecca.
Just after the hearing, I'll send you what we saw, just so if you know who it is, if they can take it down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know how to get in touch with Mr. Fodiman?
So he is a partner, so I can certainly get you in touch with, our active ownership right now.
Okay, because
he-
to be a manager of record, this is not an alcohol board hearing. You
Mhm.
have to be, he's listed as the manager of record for the liquor license. And to be a manager of record for a liquor license, you should educate yourself about this. They have to be a resident of Massachusetts. So there's a
Okay.
major problem on that,
Mhm.
major. They have to be familiar with the rules and regulations of the board. I'm guessing that he is not familiar with the rules and regulations of the board, and since this alcohol license applies to the whole entire hotel, the entire hotel is at risk. So
Okay.
it's in your best interest to have Mr. Fodiman contact us this afternoon.
Okay, understood.
Who is Jean Michaud
He is a restaurant manager here.
there at that location?
Correct.
Okay. Rick, what is your title?
I'm the general manager of operations for the company.
Okay, so does Jean Michaud report to you?
Correct.
Who's William O'Brien?
He's the general manager of the restaurant.
He reports to who?
Me as well. I mean, Jean would report to Will and Will would report to me, but yes, I am Jean's supervisor as well.
Who's Hughes Azevedo
He uses the owner.
of the hotel?
No, I'm sorry, of our restaurant group and in the restaurant.
Do you have a management agreement?
Me personally,
No. Does the hotel and the restaurant have a management agreement?
I don't, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. So this is a mess, to say the least. As far as the licensing of it, and none of it makes any sense to us. So we'd like to hear from a responsible person today.
Okay.
As far as this violation, you need to familiarize yourself with your license.
I have since, yeah, I think there was just some confusion, but I've
We need
looked
a
at-
24-hour contact so that when we get called from neighbors complaining, we can call you in
Mhm.
real time.
Okay,
So just for the record, yeah, from like since I think August of 22, we've communicated with Brett, AU's, various people, and we reiterate what the process is. So like anything outside, rooftop outside, you cannot have entertainment, not even background music without a proper license. So that's where the amendment that I emailed to you. And anything outside, non-live, and anything inside live or non-live, sorry, anything live usually requires some type of community process, especially if you're in a residential area. So if you plan on applying for that, you definitely need to do that process.
okay.
Yep. And then just a question, who is the manager of the hotel?
His name is Claudio Pereira.
Okay.
I believe that's his last name.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, Pereira, that's correct.
so we've gone over who the different people are that we've tried to be in touch with. We've gone over what needs to be done to correct the license. We've established that there are no promotional events this weekend. We've received noise complaints. I'm sure you have too. Do you have any, how do you monitor noise?
We did just order a decibel, I don't know what the right term is for it, but a decibel meter to read that. So that should be coming in. We've kind of all done this all since the original incident, and I will say that we had a party last week or the week before, which we got a 1-day permit for, and we decided to shut it down because it was getting to the point where we knew that you guys would want it. So we did shut that party down early because we are trying to be compliant. I think a lot of this is just confusion with, this guy Brett kind of just disappeared on the other owner. So he has his name on stuff. He's a very difficult person to get in touch with. you know, our other owners tried to get in touch with him a lot, so.
Okay, if you can't get in touch with them, someone needs to fill out an application to remove him as manager of record. And that person has to be a Massachusetts resident.
And
Do you
then
have
just,
any soundproofing?
I'm
I
sorry.
know it's outdoor thing, but it sounds like it's emanating from the inside. Do you do anything for soundproofing?
No, but that's also something we had discussed, because we have like the plexiglass walls. So we had discussed maybe we could buy some soundproofing and kind of drape it over when we do have entertainment, and that might dampen the sound. The last, I want to say it was Sunday, the last time we had it, we had a different DJ who was the person we're going to go forward with anyways. He's very on board with us trying to be compliant. He's trying to help us out. So we've moved away from the DJ we had with complaints, because, you know, we started at one place and then next thing you know, it just seems louder, you know, so we got to go over and say, hey, we got to turn it down. So we've moved on from him, got another guy that we think is going to be much better for us just in general.
so all licensees have to comply by the Boston noise ordinance. And that's on your license, so after 11 PM cannot go above, I think it's 50 decibels. And then cannot go over 70 decibels at any time. And, you know, sound added to the patrons talking on the roof, like everything just will be a lot louder than you may think. So yes, if you're measuring with the sound meter on your premise and it's not over those decibels, then you should be fine. But wind and different stuff, just all of that will make sound travel, and it might disturb your neighbors. It might not sound that loud, but for some reason, you know, added with the street noise and everything, it can get very loud.
Sure.
So just to keep that in mind.
Thank you. Executive Director Joyce, Director Fu, are there any other questions related to the May 7th incident before we move to additional testimony from abutters?
I have one question for the detective. Was the licensee cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. I will reserve any other questions until after the other people. Speak.
I'll talk about it.
Thank you. Please proceed if there is additional testimony you would like to provide related to the incident on May 7th to the Entertainment Division.
I'll go first. Again, it's Marcy Jackson. I face the Cambria, well, it's off to the right. I'm up on the 5th floor of my building, and I've got a great bird's eye view of everything that was going on there. And it was pounding noise. It was, well, for the event where I sent in the video was pounding noise. I don't remember the date. And it was interactive with the DJ that was there. And the patrons were yelling back, and it was yelling to them loud. It was almost the electronic music that you'd hear at those festivals with the deep bass, and it was boom, boom, boom pounding. So, and not to mention, I assume that was a ticketed event, but tons of people up there. One patron had her hand up on the top of the plexiglass thing that keeps you from falling off the edge of, she was on a chair, and I even have a picture of her, and she was holding on to that. I mean, I don't know if they're concerned about safety either, but that's another issue. So it just continued and continued on. I have never, in the time I've lived here, which has been since 2006, heard anything. I mean, obviously the Cambria Hotel hasn't been there that long. It was an empty parking lot, and they tore down a small bar next to it, and they put up this bar. All of the condominium buildings, apartment buildings were here before the Cambria. I've noticed that there's also sometimes, and I know this isn't relevant to that date, but there's piping of music. They have chairs outside in front of the hotel and tables. And I've gone outside, and they're piping music outside, like it's some open air, sit there and listen to loud music. It's not a soft music. There was another party this weekend, or another event up there. And then Monday night, which kind of was surprising to me, on a Monday night until like around probably 8 or 9 o'clock at least. There was music coming from there, and it was fairly loud. It wasn't as loud as it was on the weekends, and there wasn't any interactive stuff, but I'm thinking, this is a Monday. And so I guess my question is, how many more events? Why doesn't the public have a right to basically participate in the approval process for these special permits? Because they, how do they get awarded? And, are they going to be the same? I mean, it seems like, they're not going through the entertainment entertainment license application, which would have the due process, everybody gets to say something and the board decides. And then you just get these one-time events, but those could be all summer long. And as far as noise traveling, it's like it bounces off across the highway to the other buildings and all these other tall buildings, and it just reverberates. But it's still loud in and of itself. So that's what I have to say that's my testimony. I don't know if Gene French has anything to say.
Yeah, I'd be glad to talk. I'm David Green. Can you hear me?
We can hear
Yes.
you.
Can you? Okay. So I live on the 6th floor, 9 West, and do not even face the Cambria. When I called the police after trying to reach the hotel and getting nobody to talk to me, it was so loud, the vibration so much that even with our windows closed, our silverware and plates were rattling. And to listen to the television, we had to turn the television up because the noise from the hotel was so loud. And that's inside our unit. If we went up to our deck, it was unbelievably loud. The thumping noise of people jumping up and down with a very, very loud DJ. It was unbelievable. And it got so loud, we decided to leave the house. So when we went downstairs on the 1st floor, the street level, you didn't really hear it so much. But on the 5th, 6th floor, it is tremendously loud. And anytime you want to come measure it from our house, I'd be glad to have you come and do so. So we were one of the ones who called the police when I couldn't get anybody at the hotel to talk to me.
But it wasn't the first time that we had called. We had called the hotel, not on this event, but for prior events that were really loud. We had called the hotel, asking them to turn the music down. We only called the police on this event because calling the hotel had absolutely no impact. Nothing was improved by doing that. In fact, there wasn't really anybody we could talk to. I didn't know all the layers of people that own this, that, and everything. So we'd leave a message with the
hotel people.
The hotel people, asking them to talk to the restaurant people. They said their restaurant wasn't really part of them. It was not understandable to me how to deal with the Cambria. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Executive Director Joyce, any further questions related to the May 7th event?
No questions.
Anything from Director Fu?
Nope.
Thank you. We'll move on to the second incident on today's agenda. Date of the incident was May 11th, 2023. Premise conducting entertainment consisting of TV and recorded amplified music on outdoor rooftop patio against license restrictions. Mr. Gallego, are you here on behalf of the licensee again?
Correct.
Thank you. And who is here on behalf of the Boston Police Department? Detective Hernandez again?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's Hernandez again.
Thank you very much. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the May 11th event who would like to testify this afternoon?
I would just reiterate my comments from the first one. I'm here every weekend. I have been this summer, and I've heard it on consecutive weekends. So it could have been the 11th as well. And I was here last weekend, so I know what it was like last weekend.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Appreciate that. You have all been previously sworn in. Detective Hernandez, if you could please read this police report into the record.
Good afternoon again. I'll be reading from police report with Sergeant Detective Gallagher wrote. On 5/11/2023 at about 10:26 p.m., Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez signed to the licensed premise unit were dropping off a notice of a hearing at the Cambria Hotel, 6 West Broadway. Detectives proceeded to the rooftop patio in search of a manager. As detectives waited for the manager to arrive, they observed the widescreen TV to be operating, as well as recorded amplified music being played. Mr. Rick Gallego arrived and met detectives by the main bar. Detectives informed Mr. Gallego about the incoming hearing at City Hall on 5/25. Detectives also advised Mr. Gallego that the reason for the upcoming hearing was because of the entertainment violation regarding entertainment taking place on the outdoor patio. Mr. Gallego stated that he thought he was acting within the scope of his license. Detectives and Mr. Gallego proceeded to inspect the Cambria's entertainment license, and all parties observed the condition no entertainment may take place outside. As a result of what was observed, signed Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 04036 feet of the Cambria Hotel for premise conducting entertainment on outdoor rooftop patio against board restrictions, no entertainment outside, TV, recorded music. Mr. Rick Gallego signed for an acceptance notice, and we did include a picture of the TV that was operational that night and the speakers that are on the actual roof deck, the outdoor speakers that are on the roof deck. And that is all.
Thank you, Detective. Mr. Gallego, would you like to address this incident?
Sure. So when detective came, I explained to him that I didn't realize just having regular music like a restaurant was really an issue. So we have since made sure that has been shut off. The license does say 3 televisions. I was also under the impression that covered the one on the roof, which it didn't, but we don't even have 2 other televisions. So that one I was a little confused about. But yeah, I mean, a misunderstanding, and we're trying our best to rectify it. That's why we're here today.
Thank you. Executive Director Joyce, Director Fu, any questions regarding this incident?
No.
Nope.
You, any further testimony that any of the neighbors or any folks who have previously been sworn in would like to provide to the division related to this incident?
I can just say it wasn't regular music. We've all been to restaurants in the city, and if you had music that loud at a regular restaurant, you'd tell them to turn it down. So it was an event. It wasn't people sitting at tables having lunch and piping in music. And then I know this doesn't have to do with my testimony, but what are the rules going forward? Can we discuss those at some point during this hearing?
Not during this hearing. This is a violation hearing.
Okay.
They will have to work with the Office of Neighborhood Services in the community. Well, I have a question for you, Rick, but let's see if the Frenches have a question.
Thank you, Ms. French. Mr. Green, anything further?
No.
No, just I agree with Marcy, the differential between music and a very loud dance party. This is not just music.
Rick?
Can we clear up that we're talking about 2 completely different instances here? The 7th and the 11th are 2 very different things.
Oh, they
7th,
are.
I'm on board with, the 11th, they came up to double check on us. And they were like, hey, you're not supposed to have this music on either. So that wasn't, the music that normally plays in the restaurant wasn't bothering anybody. On the 7th, I understand that's something different, but we can't just keep piling up what we want for the sake of anything.
Well, I was going to ask some questions.
Okay, sorry.
Rick, on May 7th, when you received this license premise violation notice, or Mr. O'Brien did, what did you do internally? Did Mr. O'Brien give it to you? Did he make you aware of it? Did you guys discuss this? Did you read your license? What did you do?
Yes, so Will reached out to me. He said, hey, the city showed up. The DJ everything was just kind of out of control. So, that night ended. There was not much we could do about that. I think there was misunderstanding about like I said, just the house music. That's not something, and now I know different, but not something I thought that we would need a license for. Even the fact that I did read it and it doesn't say that, it's not something I would think that needed to be on an entertainment license just for music within the restaurant.
There's the issue. You're the manager and you're not
Sure.
aware of what you can and cannot do.
Sure.
And it's bothering the quality of life of people in your neighborhood. You're
Understood.
not abiding by the terms of your license. And we're not going to continue to do this. When Detective Hernandez and Sergeant Gallagher showed up, they were showing up not to check on you, but to give you a notice of today's hearing. And when they walked in, they realized there were other issues. So it may feel like we're piling on, but they were doing their job. And we will continue to do our job until you can operate within the confines and the terms of your license. I know you have an outdoor patio. I was there, I inspected it with Detective Hernandez when you first opened, but this is, you can't operate this way.
Sure, and I didn't mean piling on as far as you guys in the city. I just meant we discussed the 7th and then we brought up the 11th and there was all this talk about the party again when it's two separate incidences. What happened on the 11th when they came to deliver the thing with the house music really had nothing to do with the other complaints.
Well, that's for me to decide. They are two different complaints, but I think you need to educate yourself and your staff about what you can and cannot do. And if you don't understand it, you should get on a phone call with our staff so that you're operating correctly. This has taken up, again, a lot of my time, a lot of the detectives' time, a lot of the neighbors' time. And I don't think you appreciate just exactly what is at risk here, okay? Even the background music is at risk right now. That's attached to this entertainment license. So I'm trying to walk through this with you. And I want to make sure that you understand that this is a very serious thing in my eyes. So we have to get on this right away.
Sure, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to understand myself.
Okay.
For the record, ma'am, on the 7th, we explained to them that they couldn't have any entertainment up on the roof deck. So that's why we were surprised to go back there on the 11th to deliver the notice and see that again, because it was clearly explained to them what they could and could not do. So,
Thank you, Detective.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So Rick, you need to talk to your staff needs to talk to you. It's not okay that, you know, you assumed this and you assumed that. You're gonna have to have some staff meetings and really go over these things. When Boston police show up in response to a complaint, you should take it very seriously.
Sure, I mean, I don't want you to think that we're not. When I hear the words entertainment, and I promise you, I will absolutely look into it and discuss this with whoever I need to. House music doesn't strike me as entertainment.
It is, in the definition of entertainment in the city of Boston, even a closed caption TV at a pizza place is considered entertainment. You have no right to do that without a license.
Sure, I understand that now. We're not trying
Yeah.
trying
So
to.
as hotel and restaurant operators, you want to educate yourself about the rules. We do this all day, every day, so we're more familiar with it than you, but you should be just as familiar with it because there's a lot on the line here.
Sure.
I think I've spent a lot of time on this one. I know my staff has. I'm going to ask Rebecca to see if she has any questions.
I do not.
Thank you. Executive Director Joyce, anything further?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Those are all of the items before the division today. The Executive Director will take these matters under advisement and will issue a written decision that will adjourn this afternoon's hearing. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.